Welcome back to the Clydesdale Media Podcast. My name is Scott Switzer. This is Amy Radowski, and we are so honored and privileged to have Anna Tobias with us today. You are such an interesting woman. I cannot wait to dive into all that you've accomplished in your life. But the reason we have you on is that you are going to be competing in the Masters Fitness Collective.
Correct, yes.
So I haven't seen any competition results for a couple years now, I think since COVID. Yep. Is this going to be your first time back on the comp floor?
Yes, it is. Yes, and my last time, I guess, competing on the floor was the games before COVID. And then the last time I did qualifiers was the year it got canceled. So took 2 years off to kind of let my body recover and focus on the gym. And then, yeah, this will be my first time back. So I'm really excited.
Yeah. So what drew you to that competition?
Well, I was looking for something that was going to be a really good competition, like with good athletes to compete against. And it just seemed like I feel like I'm not too old to like try and compete against 20-year-olds, but I'm too old to try and compete against 20-year-olds. So I want to find something that would like not break me as I like ease back into it. And it just seemed to be perfect. Like I said, the competition was good. And it was just perfect timing to dive in, and did it with a couple of other guys from the gym who also ended up qualifying as well. So it'll be a fun little trip for all of us to go to.
Very cool. So the last time you were on a competition floor, you won.
Yes.
Yeah, two-time 35 to 39-year-old champion at the CrossFit Games. So are expectations high, or is this just go have fun, get your toe back in the water, and kind of hang out with your gym mates?
A bit of both, I think. I think being competitive, you have that desire to want to always perform your best. I'm going to go and give it the best shot I can, and if that means I come out on top, great. I would be lying if I didn't say I would like to finish on the podium. But, at the end of the day, it depends what the workouts are and, and basically what game you bring. So I'm training hard, and I'm looking forward to it, but looking forward to having a good time and having some fun too.
So you and your husband are co-owners of a gym in Pittsburgh, T2?
Yep. T2 CrossFit, yep.
Yeah, and that's the gym that's sending some athletes to MFC?
Yep.
Awesome. So when did you guys buy the gym? And you met your husband through CrossFit, right?
I did, actually, yeah. So him and I got into CrossFit through some sailing friends when we were training for the London Olympics, and we were in Chicago training, and they said, hey, come check out this gym. I think you'll like it, because we needed somewhere to go to do our fitness routines, workouts and stuff. And so anyway, they're like, it's a CrossFit gym. And we're like, what? Anyway, we went, and I absolutely fell in love on the first day. Like, got my ass handed to me and loved it. And then we moved down to Miami to do some training through the winter time, and went to the gym that he was coaching at. And I think his first words to me were, you need to get stronger. You need to get on my strength program. And I was like,
and that's what won you over?
And apparently that won me over. Yeah, so no, he was my coach for a long time first, and we were friends. He helped me train and stay fit and healthy for the London Olympics. And we got through that, and then just became really good friends. And then eventually we started dating, and had this opportunity to move up to Pittsburgh. Moved up there, and then in 2016 we opened our own gym. Just outside Pittsburgh.
So this is the important question, are you Steelers fans?
I definitely, yes, I am.
Okay, that's good news.
Yes.
We're Steelers fans at
my wife and my whole entire family will be glad to hear that.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up 90 miles north of Pittsburgh.
Okay. So
in a little town called Oil City.
Okay.
But what I bet my co-host doesn't know is you went to high school in Ohio.
I did.
Whoa, I did not know that.
At the age of 12, you moved to the States, and you guys moved to Perrysburg, Ohio.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Which is a small little town up pretty much Toledo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was going to say Toledo. Yeah.
So one of my questions for you is, Fort Wayne, Indiana is not that far from Perrysburg.
Correct.
Do you have any family back there anymore?
No, my parents live on a boat somewhere on the East Coast, and my brother lives in Virginia Beach area.
So it doesn't help that you're going to be competing really close to where you grew up.
No, but it'd be nice to like drive through on my way there and on the way home.
Yeah. The best thing I know from Perrysburg is the Holodome, which is the Holiday Inn that they built the dome over the middle, where they put like a mini golf and a pool, and it's all the theme of New Orleans.
Okay, haven't been there, haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's not worth the trip for just that.
No.
Okay.
That's just where my so I work for the state of Ohio. That's where they put us up every time we had to travel.
Oh, okay.
So super excited about MFC, but I want to go back in time a little bit. For those that don't know, you had a legendary sailing career.
Yeah.
And you just told us before we went on the air that career may not be over.
Yeah. So I've been in talks with my former skipper from the last campaign that we tried to go to for the Tokyo Olympics, and we decided that we're going to give it another go. And so we're 7 days back into our new quest for gold in Paris 2024.
So what makes a girl want to be a sailor?
I don't know. I know I was born in the sport. My family's done it. Thankfully, they never forced me to compete in it. They just wanted me to know how to sail. But I would say my family is just competitive by nature. I think it's in our genes. And so eventually I took to the competitive side of sailing and started doing it. I think what I love about it, which is also kind of very similar to CrossFit, is that like it's always different, right? So we do these workouts, we do similar movements, but you know, the way the movements are put together, the time frames, the rounds and reps, like it always ends up having a different relative feel to it, right? And same in sailing, even though you'll do 2 to 3 races, 4 races a day, even though the conditions like the wind and the waves and all of that might stay very similar, it's never identical. And so it's always a new game of chess every time we go out and start the race.
So what does a day of training look like for sailing?
So we get up, we go to the gym, we spend about an hour and a half at the gym, come home, eat breakfast, make lunch, head to the boat park, do any little bit of work that we need to. So we'll be there around 11, 10:30, 11, 11:30, depending on the wind for the day. And then rig up, head out, sail for 2 to 3 hours, come in, watch video, debrief the day, make dinner, do recovery, go to bed, repeat.
So there's video analysis in all of this.
Wow.
And is the video on the boat, or do you have another boat videoing you?
So usually we'll have our coach, if we have a coach out with us, we'll have a coach behind us who's videoing us. Sometimes we'll put a GoPro on our boat as well so that we can see what we're actually doing close up on the boat. So a lot of it is like making sure our footwork's going right. So that's what the video on the boat does. The video off the boat is we're looking at the shape of the sails to make sure like they're in the fastest shape possible to make the boat go as fast as possible. So it's a lot of critiquing that and watching our movements in the boat and how it translates into the boat speed.
So who knew it was all about physics and geometry?
It is very much about physics and geometry, and those were probably my least 2 successful classes in high school. Which is sad to say, but that's it.
I think you faked it well enough. As
you
won the gold medal. You won the gold medal in 2008 at the Olympics. You qualified again for the Olympics in 2012. You won 2 World Cups. I got to ask, as someone, I grew up as a swimmer. So the Olympics were a dream at one time for me. You win an Olympic gold medal. Do you have that displayed anywhere? Does it mean a lot to you?
It does mean a lot to me. It means the world to me. The amount of time and effort and stress and anxiety that went into that, it kind of is all in that medal. Is it displayed? No. It's in a little bag. It's usually in a drawer somewhere in the house. I actually have it right now because I took it to a talk that I did. So I have it in my backpack now, but normally it's just put in a drawer somewhere, safe.
What about the CrossFit gold medals?
They're with my other gold medal. Yeah, they'll sit in the drawer. I don't really brag about myself. I don't like to post it all up there, I did it and I'm very proud of what I've done. On to the next task and how can I inspire others to try and accomplish their goals? These are my dreams and I've accomplished them and I have more dreams to accomplish for sure, but I also want to be able to help others accomplish them. So I don't really into that.
It sounds like you're more about the process than the product.
I know the product's very important.
Okay.
When I did win in London, I took it extremely badly. It was rough. We were the world champions 2 years before, silver medalists at the Worlds the year of the games, ranked number 1 in the world, basically won everything except world leading into the games and got 5th at the games. And so I was really devastating. And in a way, they say things happen for a reason, whatever that reason was. I got really into CrossFit and had a great CrossFit career, So, everything happens for a reason. You just don't see it at the time. But yeah, I'm very much about the end result. That's why I enjoy the journey, but I want the end result as well.
It's crazy because if I won the gold medal and it probably, if you do it, it's different than if you think you do it, but I'd be walking in a grocery store with that hanging around my neck, yo, gold medalist here.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I guess people do. It's not me.
Yeah. But in all honesty, all of my stuff from my swimming career are in a box in the basement. They haven't seen the light of day in 20 years.
Right.
So I guess you fantasize it so much. And when you never get it, you think you would flaunt it. But reality is in your heart what you did. So did you ever get the ring tattoo?
I do. I have it on my ankle. It needs touching up, but I definitely got it. Yeah.
All right. So that's the display.
Yeah. I guess that's the display.
Yeah. Because that's a cool tradition that Olympians get to put the rings on as a tattoo, and that's something you can never take away from them.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
So I don't know where to go next. You're now training again. When you were doing this the first time, if I read it correctly, because I am not a sailing expert, you were a one-person boat?
Correct.
So it was all by yourself. It was all on you.
Yes.
In pictures that you posted on Facebook, you are with other people.
Yes.
In this round, trying to go back, are you doing more than one-person boat?
Yes. So when I won the gold in 2008, I sailed by myself in a boat called the Laser. At the time, it was called the Laser Radial. Now it's called an Ilka 6. Then from there, after that one, in the London Olympics, I transitioned to a discipline called match racing. And we sailed with 3 of us on the boat. And then in the last one, when we were trying for Tokyo, there were 2 of us, and I switched. I've always driven boats my entire life, and instead of driving, I now moved to the front of the boat and I'm crewing. And that's the same boat that I'm doing again now.
Okay. Do you enjoy one over the other?
The 3 boats are one completely different, and the game is totally different between all 3 boats. And so there was a reason for picking and choosing each of them. And the reason I chose this one now is probably because it's a very physical boat. And of course, I like the challenge. So I like the physical challenge along with the mental challenge of it. So that's why I'm crewing at the front of this boat now.
So do
and
the
my
nerves,
speaker is amazing. She's so fast. She's so good. So it's really fun to do it with her.
do the nerves hit you the same when you're competing at sailing that they might at CrossFit, or are you more confident in competing in one than the other?
No, you definitely get nervous the same. The difference is in CrossFit, you kind of have like your game plan, right? Like, you know how well you can move a weight, you know how well you can do these skills, and you kind of have an idea, even under fatigue, like how the workout's going to go. The one thing you can't control in CrossFit is what your competitors are going to do, but you can kind of game the field if you know you're doing really well and you've got a lead, you can kind of like, let off the gas a little bit to conserve some energy. In sailing, you have to read the wind, which you can't actually really see. You're kind of predicting what Mother Nature's going to throw at you. You have these 30, 40 other boats that, we're all going to go different ways on the race course. So you can't really control anybody. And you're just hoping that you read the wind and make the decisions better than everybody else. And then there is never a letting off the pedal. It's once you're in the front, you stay in the front because anything could happen. You could hit a rogue wave and capsize. You could, the wind could change on you. So you're always just pushing all the time.
So I'm going to try to put this delicately. You are a master's athlete.
Yes.
You are going back into a sport that you did at a much younger age.
Yes.
How does, because of your fitness level, does that allow you to do that?
Yes, definitely it does. It's also the cool thing of sailing is it's an experience sport. So the more you do, the more experience you get. So in theory, the older you are, the better you should be. There's a balance of like, you've got to be able to be fit enough to handle the boat that you're sailing. And I think that's one of the great things of our sport is there's so many different boats that you can sail, whether it's in the Olympics or weekend racing or whatever, that anybody can sail. But yeah, I think the fitness definitely helps me sail this boat in the position that I'm sailing, for sure.
Okay. And just for those that don't know racing, yes, it's an experienced sport, but you're moving a lot. You have to move those sails.
Very physically
You have
demanding.
to pull rope. You have to do a lot of things. How fit does a sailor have to be?
You should be quite fit. I always feel like I should be fitter when I'm doing it, right? Like there'll be times where like your heart rate's down a little bit and you feel okay, good. And then like the intense moment hits and afterwards you're like, oh my God, I just need to be fitter. Just like we do in WODs, right? Like you feel really good about the WOD and you're doing it. And then you get the last round or whatever. And you're like, oh my God, I'm dying. Same thing. You always want to be fitter than what you are.
Yeah, it happened to me today. I collapsed completely on the floor. So I get that completely. You won so many awards. Like the list just kept going. Yachtswoman of the Year from 2008 to 2011.
Yeah.
So like 4 straight MVPs.
Yeah.
World Sailor of the Year in 2009 and 11.
Yeah.
And when you were in college, you won Sailor of the Year in 2005.
Yeah.
That is incredible. But where I want to go with that is you do that sport. You're so successful, Olympic medalist, all of these accolades. You go to CrossFit. How humbling was it competing in CrossFit the first year out?
I think going into it, I didn't really have know what to do. Like my coach said, Brad said he knew I would qualify for the games, like my first year that I did regionals. And I was like, I'm going to regionals. I don't even know what's going on, and then I finished second and qualified for the games. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. We'll go to the games. Right. So I had no expectations the first year. I didn't know what really was going on. I think I watched the games a couple times on ESPN, a couple events. Right. So I didn't know a ton about it. And so I was last minute cramming to see what the heck was going on. And so I didn't really have a ton of expectations. And then, but I think I finished 9th my first year. So that was like, I was super happy and super kind of proud of myself, impressed. And then in the next year, I was like, right, ready, gung-ho to go after it. And then I got injured in the triple threes. And so that kind of took me out that year. And then after that, I was like, it was a fight. Like, I wanted to get back there, but I knew, strength has always been not a strong area for me. Like, I'm more of the endurance athlete. And I always struggled with the strength side of things. So those events always took me down. So I knew I was always battling that. But, I kind of gave it my all every year and just kind of see where we landed. And, the great thing of the games is if some of the workouts were more in my wheelhouse, then great, that'd be awesome. And if there was just max lift after max lift, I probably wasn't going to have a good games. So what's good about them is that they do give a wide variety of everything, which is really cool and depends on your preparedness.
So looking back, I saw that when you were competing in the individual division, 3 event wins.
Mm-hmm.
So you definitely had your home runs.
Yeah.
Right. But like you said, strength was not a strength of yours. So you had some down moments too.
Yeah.
In sailing, did you ever have that like kind of roller coaster experience that you would get during a games week?
Yes. Especially in the early years of a quadrennium for the Olympics. You'll have those events or the wind conditions in a sense that are not necessarily your strong suit, or one of the angles of points of sail is not necessarily a strong suit. So you struggle to figure it out. But eventually you get better and better at it, and you can get better and better at it as you learn and feel the boat and learn how to set up the sails. So yeah, we definitely went through those phases.
Do you remember your 3 event wins?
One was a beach event, swimming, which also, fun fact, I'm absolutely terrified of the ocean. So I was absolutely shitting myself that entire event. The sandbag event. And what was the other one? Oh, the chipper thing, the sled pulley thing with China. I remember that.
The rope chipper.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the heavy dubs. And yeah, those are the 3. And which one of those 3 was your favorite?
Probably the sandbag one in the stadium, in the tennis stadium. That was so much fun. The swim one was not my favorite. I hate swimming in that ocean.
Were you just motivated to go faster because you were scared shitless?
Probably. No, all I can think. So, kind of funny story. We knew we were going swimming, and we knew which pier we were swimming around. So the day before, I went to the beach to kind of like check out the beach and the ocean. But we went to the pier, one pier up, and I looked over the end and I saw 2 sharks swimming around the pier. And I was like, come on, this is not, no. And so as I was swimming, I was like, I knew I was like, because the first swim was like a short 250, and then it was on the beach, do some burpees thrusters, around the pier, do some burpees thrusters, and then a short swim again. And I got into the water to do the pier swim, and I was like, well, they had a little boat with the camera in front of you, and I was like, well, at least if I get eaten by a shark, everyone's going to see it, and maybe they'll name this event after me. Like, these are the thoughts that are going through my head whilst I'm swimming. I was like, just keep swimming. People will see it if you get eaten. It's okay. I don't know.
That it's so funny what goes through your head in any workout.
Yes.
But that is awesome. So the sandbag, it's such an iconic, like vivid memory for many CrossFit fans. You had to bring the sandbags down, climb over the wall, load them up on a wheelbarrow, move them across the stadium, up over the wall, and back up the steps.
Yes.
What was the hardest part of that?
Honestly, like, Brad gave me such a good strategy on all of it that, like, the event felt not stressful. I think probably the most stressful part was, like, making sure you didn't dump the wheelbarrow. But, like, he told me exactly, like, he told me the order to bring the bags down and how many in each hand and all of that. told me how to like lay it in the wheelbarrow, and it just kind of like flowed super easy. I give him 100% credit for that one, because it just, what he told me to do, I stuck to it, and it worked fantastically.
So many people dumped the wheelbarrow. So many people. And did you have any issues with it at all, because you had them packed just the right way?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
How he did it, how he came up with that strategy, I don't know, but it was amazing. And the event went so easy and so smoothly.
And that's what I think
was probably geometry and physics.
Probably not. Yeah, not my area.
But I think that's what's so interesting and fascinating about some of those events like that, because you're all there, you're all super fit people, right? You're capable of doing this grunt work, but it comes down to the strategy of how to approach it and how to do that. So I think that was a cool event to display that in particular.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think people underestimate the mindset part of competing. It's so much. And I do a show with Phil Mansfield, and I know that one of his tactics has been to have his people do math problems in the middle of a workout.
Yeah.
So that they can keep their mind active and be able to think on their feet in the middle of extreme fatigue.
Yeah.
Do you do anything for mindset in either of the sports?
I did a lot for mindset in sailing. I did a lot of I read a lot of The Inner Game of Tennis and those sorts of books to kind of keep my mind in the right place a lot of times, especially when you start getting really nervous or getting into a tricky situation. And then I think just in CrossFit, my training, the way we train, and the way Brad trains me, just made me get really mentally strong. Yeah, whether he agrees with that, I don't know. I feel like I'm mentally strong, stronger than I was at least.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, I got a why here. I'm going to go this way. You and Brad met. He was your coach.
Yeah.
At what point did it become more than coach and athlete? And how did the first date come up?
Our first date wasn't very successful. I think, yeah, he trained me. Well, he started coaching me in 2011. So probably around 2013, maybe 2014, somewhere in there. 2014, maybe 13. I can't remember. We started dating. And then, our date was not successful. So we said we're never going to go on a date again. And then we just hung out.
Yeah.
There you
then
go.
The pressure was probably off and you guys could just be yourselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's that out of box thinking that gets you to be successful.
Yeah.
So in today's CrossFit, there are so many spouses, partners that are coach and athlete. How hard is that dynamic when you train together and then you have to come home and live together?
Yeah, so we had a rule. We get 5 minutes to sulk on the way home, and then that's it. What happens at the gym stays at the gym. You get your 5 minutes of sulking, and then move on with life.
Set that boundary and move on.
Yeah.
Does Brad still train you today?
He still coaches me. He does my programming, if I have questions on it. But just because I've just been, I want to say casually CrossFitting, but not training as intensely, it hasn't been the one-on-one coaching that we have. But he's always in my corner. If I have questions on my programming or weights or modifications, and I'll show him the workouts for the Masters Fitness Cup event, and we'll go over strategy for those as well. So he'll be there.
So we know about Anna as a sailor and as a CrossFit athlete, but what does downtime look like for you, or what other things do you enjoy doing? Are you a reader or artist?
Well, I'm just in my last class of my MBA right now. So once that finishes up, hopefully I'll have a little bit more time. I love baking. I love cooking and baking. I'd like to do that, but it's a bit expensive these days. So yeah, I want to get back into reading and, taking just a little bit of time for myself. Like when I'm home, I have 3 dogs at home. I love spending time with them. So taking them on walks and playing with them, snuggling them.
Yeah.
And what kind of dogs do you have?
I have a German Shepherd, a Belgian Malinois, and a Pit Bull.
So you have some work dogs.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're a lot, but they're really good dogs. So it's great.
Are they good gym dogs or training dogs?
Layla, my German Shepherd, and Luna, our Pit Bull, came to the gym a lot. And then our Malinois doesn't go to the gym. He doesn't like people.
Yeah.
And our German Shepherd doesn't like other dogs but loves people. And our Pit Bull is just lazy. She's just happy to be wherever she can sleep. So, but they'll hang out with me when I'm training at home. Definitely, they'll hang out in the garage with me and kind of just look at me every time I drop the ball. Like,
yeah, yeah, same. Like I'm trying to sleep over here. What are you doing?
I'll take it back it.
Yeah.
So Amy takes her dog on runs all the time. Does that ever happen?
No, I'll take him on walks.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, Amy's dog is named Murph.
Oh, nice.
Well,
because she actually loves running.
Yeah, and we rescued him on Memorial Weekend like 5 years ago. So it was,
makes sense.
It just was perfect. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. So when you're training for sailing, it sounds like a long day, just like CrossFit. But are the weights lower? Is it a different style?
For me, no. Just because I get my kick out. Like when I'm sailing, when I'm CrossFitting, I'm focused on CrossFit, and I don't have to think about sailing. I don't think about work. I don't think about anything else. When I'm sailing, I'm focused on sailing. I don't think about CrossFit or work or anything. So I keep my CrossFit training as is. When I'm programming for my the athletes that I program for that sail, their workouts change based on whether they're at a competition, heavy training. Also I won't have them do muscle ups or snatches. They don't need to do that for sailing, and it's like a high risk move that is not needed, So their workouts are definitely different than what I would be doing. But I love the CrossFit thing, so I got to keep that going for me.
Oh, you're on mute, Scott.
I was just talking to myself a little bit.
Amateur.
So when you were in the open division, it's very, very competitive. What I have found by going to the MFC is that things are a little bit more laid back. As you age, it's not as important to win everything. And you like seeing your friends that you haven't seen in a very long time. Are you looking forward to kind of catching up with people that you haven't seen in a few years?
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I'm hoping I see people I haven't seen in a few years. It's actually funny. When I did my first Masters at the Games, it was the same thing. Like it was so much more chill, laid back. Everyone was like, it was a totally different vibe. I loved it. So yeah, I'm hoping this vibe continues in this event too. And yeah, I'm hoping I see people that I haven't seen in a few years. So it should be a lot of fun.
So that first year you went head to head with Same Briggs. Yeah. And she's kind of legendary for being loosey-goosey in the back.
Yeah, she's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a good time. Both years, all of us had a really good time. It was both years new people were coming out of the individual competition, and it was at first it was very intense, and then you settle into the way we masters do it, and the mood lightens up, and it's definitely it's intense as soon as you get on the floor. It's blinders on and you're off to the races, but it's much more chill, and Sam's definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then the next year you went head to head with Carleen Matthews and Becca Voigt. That was the podium that year. Pretty impressive lineup that year as well.
Yeah. Yeah, we had really good fields, and it was cool because it was like, I want to say, aside from Becca, who is just legendary, we were kind of like the first part of like that initial group really moving into the masters. So from the individual side, so it was cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't believe when I was looking at the podiums, like it's just a walk down memory lane when I went back to 2018 and 19 but you had a phenomenal masters era. The two years you went, you had 8 event wins in those 2 years.
Okay.
Pretty impressive. And your wins were by 126 points in 18 and 90 points in 19.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know
that. You didn't know that?
No, I was always told I needed to get like top 2 in the final event to win. So I didn't actually know what the final event scores were.
Were you told that by your coach?
Yes.
Well, you have 5 minutes to sulk before you get to rip them.
It works. We did it all the time. I never looked at the results, and he would tell me like where I had to finish. And obviously, he might have told a fib or two in there.
You got the end result.
But we got the results, so that's all that matters.
That's right.
So my last big question on sailing is that something you will ever be able to do for relaxation?
People ask me that a lot, and right now I would say no. I would get on the boat probably with the intent to relax, and then just start like looking at the sails and try and like tweak them so the boat would go just a little bit faster, and I'd be so focused on what the wind was doing that. No, I mean it's definitely a sport that like you can do that on, but right now I would say I'm not there.
Yeah, we talked to Emma McQuaid about, because she was a quad racer before she was in CrossFit. She says she cannot ride them at all unless she's competing.
Yeah.
The minute she gets on, it's as fast as she can possibly go and race whoever's around, and it's not relaxation for her.
Not really, no.
No. So I was just trying to get that point of view from you. Well, I'm super stoked about MFC. Amy, do you have any other questions?
No, I've been asking them as they come. So yeah.
Well, we are going to be there. I'm not sure in what capacity. I may be your judge, or I may be in the media role. I don't know, but we're going to be there. It's only a 2.5 hour drive for us up to Fort Wayne. So I can't wait to see all the legends back at MFC, including you. It was great meeting you, Anna.
Thank you very much for having me. See you there.
It was nice to see you.
Yeah.